Hi there. My name is Crystal, and I'd like to share some dreams, some rapture and other kinds of dreams, um, similar to how other people have been sharing, but of course they're the ones that I had. I loved Jesus as a child, probably 8, 9, 10 years old, because I was told that he loved children. And I had a terrible childhood, and so I had a picture of him hidden on my wall because I knew he loved children, and I just felt safe and good with that picture and with that knowledge. However, I didn't have a salvation knowledge. I didn't have that until just more recently, October 2023. Through a lot of events that occurred in my life over the past several years, finally heard who Jesus is and what he did for us, and came to believe wholeheartedly and was saved. And since then, since October 2023, I've had a number of dreams unlike any other dream. I've never had these kinds of dreams earlier in life. But they're definitely related to what's going on in the end times and rapture. I didn't share these dreams over the past year and 3 months. Today is Saturday, January 18th. And I didn't share until just recently. And I don't know if anybody can relate, right? If you get dreams like this and they are very, very similar, parallel really nicely with everybody else's dreams along these lines, sometimes it feels like you want it just for you, and maybe it is. And for me specifically, I've been just so exhausted and so tired. And it just sat, I knew it was an option to share. At least in my case, many people say it was put on their hearts by the Lord to share. For me, it felt like it was an option. I could share if I wanted to, but there really wasn't a lot of pressure. And I can be, just in real life, maybe my spiritual life too, obstinate and, given, how I was raised and everything. I have I'm very sensitive to injustice and pressure and control and these kinds of things. And so Jesus is so good, right? He worked with me over the past many months to become excited to share and to just, I mean, I don't think it was my idea. I think, if you have the idea to share, that's, but to be very willing and excited to share that came, I attribute that to the Lord, because he knows who he's working with and got me to a place where I really want to share. So one of the first dreams that I had that didn't make any sense at the time was probably a year or so ago. I dreamt that I was in this surreal, beautiful place. It was the place that I live now, but it was a surreal filter, if you will. The grass was very, very green and vibrant. It was a fresh, sunny day. And I saw a young woman walking across the lawn with my keys to my Jeep, my car. And I had just gotten this vehicle like maybe 6 months, 8 months beforehand. So I really enjoy it. I like it a lot. And here's this other girl, this young woman, carrying my keys. And it was impressed upon me that it's basically hers now. And it was told to me by a few other people. They seemed like they were kind of guides, or they were special people. They knew what was going on, basically. And they informed me that someone else is going to be driving my car, and it really wasn't mine anymore. And I thought to myself, that's too bad. I really like that car. And then immediately after that happened, grizzly bears started coming strongly, I want to say violently, but it wasn't like violent, like scary bad, but strongly out of the ground, like out of the flat, grassy ground, not out of like their den or anything like that. And I live near, and well, like there probably could be a grizzly bear around where I am, but I'm definitely very close to where grizzly bears live. And grizzly bears have made appearances in dreams previously, so I feel like they were kind of a placeholder. And when I woke up, I did feel like that was the dead in Christ rising, that was like a symbol for them rising. I also thought, well, geez, am I going to get my car repossessed before the rapture? I hope not. But what actually happened in real life was, just about 6 days ago, about a week ago, I did have to turn my keys over to the dealership because my car needs some significant work done. The rear differential needs to be done, and it's covered by my warranty. But get this, guys, the rear differential for my vehicle is on back order, and the service technician that I turned my keys into, a woman, said that it could be weeks or even months until my vehicle's worked on, because this part is on back order. So I put it together just a couple of days ago. My gosh, I handed my keys are no longer in my possession. My Jeep is no longer in my possession. And in fact, it is a woman that took my keys. And so that was really meaningful. Just a few other dreams. I had a dream about a major earthquake. I believe it was in Chicago. And, I was quite frantic. There were buildings collapsed, and I was really frantic and was like, we need to get out of here. But people were really lackadaisical. They were actually sitting in half dilapidated cafes, like playing checkers or a game or something. Like they didn't really, they acknowledged what was going on, but they weren't alarmed. I've had a dream about people in sort of these hazmat suits to protect themselves from something unseen, in some sort of poison or pollution in the air, in the environment. I was part of that team. I felt like I was looking through someone else's eyes, looking for supplies in an abandoned building, which I actually did find supplies in this building and then woke up. Again, these are dreams that I've had over the past year. I've also had a few revelations from God that struck me as being inherently true, and I just felt it with my whole body, and I just want to share briefly. And the first one is that the whole point, the very, very important point to being here on this planet is to choose Christ. That's the number one thing that everybody is going to be, has to choose one way or the other. That's the point of all of this. Now, there's other points to people's personal lives, of course, that come after that, but that is like the main purpose, the main reason of being here. Number 2, God is the perfect parent, the absolute perfect parent, and He is our Father. And then number 3, God made this world. He made this world and everything in it, including us. And I just felt that very deeply. It was probably December of 2023 that I asked the Lord, I prayed fervently, I asked, when will the rapture be? And I heard in my spirit, and I know this was from God, and He said, it will not be overdue. And that was a perfect answer for me, because I was fretting about it taking so long, and maybe He missed it, or we missed it, or, it's going to be overdue. And he assured me very firmly, it will not be overdue. In March of 2024, I had a 2-moon dream. I was with a coworker in an old town that I used to live and work in, and I saw, it was daytime, the sky was blue, and I looked up, I was with a coworker, I looked up in the sky, I saw 2 moons, and I said to my coworker, there's 2 moons? And my coworker said, mm-hmm. And they were covered, both of the moons, they were full, and they were next to each other. They looked like just, normal full moons in the sky. And they were covered with a paste, like you would drywall paste, or like ceramic paste or something like that. And I said, well, why are they covered up like that? And my coworker said to me, so the government doesn't want the people to know what is going on. And then I woke up. Another dream, in the spring of last year, I was in a skyrise building in New York with a crowd of people in the top floor of the building, and I had my baby with me. Gosh, she was probably only about a year at that time, maybe younger. And I saw a childhood friend, and I knew she was in Christ, and she was there as an adult. She's my age. And I took my baby to look out the window, and we looked at the skyline of New York, and then the feeling of urgency came upon me that we had to get over to where the people were waiting. There were elevator doors that were going to be opened, and we were going to be leaving. And I got back to the crowd, and the doors opened, and I knew we're not going to New York, though. And that dream ended. I'm flipping through my notes here. Another revelation to just share is that God sees the entirety of the problem, whatever the problem is. I had a problem at that time that I thought was impossible to solve, and it resolved so easily and drama-free without anything that I had to do in it or about it. I just had to watch, basically. And the knowing, the learning that came after that was God sees the entirety of the problem and knows the hearts of everyone involved, the ones closest to the problem and the ones further away from the problem. He knows the hearts of everyone and every specific detail about the problem on all those levels. He has a perfect plan to address it, meaning my problem, but also this greater, unfolding of life on this planet throughout time. And he has a plan to address it totally and completely for his purposes. May 17th, 2023, 2024, so this is 2025. In 2024, May, I had a dream, and this was before the drones showed up. I didn't have any idea this was an end time dream. I dreamt that there were a zillion drones in the sky. I said to someone next to me, "Look at all the drones." We looked up, and one of the drones lassoed the moon and pulled it across the sky. And as it was pulling it across the sky, the moon also faded to nothing. After the moon disappeared, the mood of the dream was dark and surveillance state. And that was the end of that dream. And then the most recent dream, okay. Sorry, a couple more. In October and November of 2024, I had another 2-moon dream, and I did a double take in my dream. I did a double take, and I looked again, and I couldn't see 2 moons anymore, but I saw 1 moon, and there was a drone covering it, and then I woke up. Another dream that I had in that time period, I was staying at a motel, and I was told that it's time to go. And I didn't have anywhere else to go. I was on the street, but I wasn't worried about it because I knew that something would work out, and God would take care of it. I looked up and I saw 2 moons, and it's almost like it had to register, 2 moons, and then they disappeared. And then I saw a giant, huge, like a planet. I don't know if it was a planet. It seemed like a planet. It wasn't Jupiter. Huge, and the sky and everything was red and orange colored. This huge sphere appeared in the sky, and when that registered in my brain, it disappeared. And then the next image that I was shown in sequence in this dream was a huge, gigantic sphere rising over the horizon. It took up from east to west. It was that large of a giant sphere rising over the horizon of Earth where I was in this dream. I wonder if that wasn't some sort of a timeline, I don't know. Another dream that felt kind of like a timeline was also at the end of 2024. I'm pretty exhausted and beat up, if you will, not physically, but like emotionally and otherwise in this life. And so in this dream, I dreamt that I was physically beat up. That's how I was feeling, not physically beat up in real life. But that's how I was feeling. And so in the dream, I was physically beat up, and I stumbled into this cabin in the woods at a nice retreat center. And there was a group of people waiting to leave. I don't know who they were. It felt very like, it could have been a church group, like really positive people, like positive in a good way. And they were getting ready to leave. I asked if I could go to the office just to like relax for a little bit. And so I went into the office. And so then I was ready to leave, and go about my business. I was going to, leave this cabin. And as I was walking out, I broke my cigarette. And I left, and I had this broken cigarette, and I was like, whatever, oh well. And I left. I walked outside, and I saw that I was at my childhood home property, my parents' property. And again, a sequence of events. I saw two eagles. Now, this was before the election. So the election, November in 2024. So this was right before the election. I saw two eagles. One was swinging on a swing, and one was hovering above the swing, going in circles like that. The eagle swinging on the swing stopped, and then they both flew off. After that, appeared in the sky, was looking up, and appeared in the sky was a beautiful white heron. That's one of my favorite birds, and so that was cool to see, and I thought, oh, that's so neat. But then after that flew away and disappeared, another heron, a baby blue, vibrant, opalescent baby blue, flew across my vision in the sky, and then I woke up. And so in real life, about 4 days after I had that dream, I actually broke a cigarette in real life. And then the eagles reminded me, or it seemed like, the swinging and the circling, and they're bald eagles. And so that seemed like the American election, and then that ended. And so it was like this sequence of events. Okay, and then here is the most recent. And this was the one where I woke up, and after hemming and hawing about about reporting my dreams, this was the one that did it. And I woke up and I said to Jesus, we've got to post this one. Like, this one's got to go online. I was at a camp, a retreat center again, and there were people around. It was a cheerful atmosphere. It was nighttime, and people were milling around, just sort of talking lightheartedly. And you know how when people are at these kinds of places, they can even talk, kind of in a deeper way about people's experiences and thoughts about things and whatnot. It was a festive atmosphere. And somebody asked me, Crystal, do you believe in life after death? And I said with all kinds of joy and enthusiasm, I said, oh, you bet I do. I'm a follower of the Lord Jesus Christ. And then, and I don't know, then, the dream went on, and we looked up, and there was this really, really, really large drone flying about in the sky, in the nighttime sky. There was also a huge, as my dream vision was coming into focus and we were looking up, I saw a large full moon, but it was a blood moon. And I thought in the dream, well, why is it red? And my vision focused in on the edges of it, and I could see, oh, it's an eclipse. That's a lunar eclipse moon. And then that made sense to my mind. And then this drone, it was so theatrical almost, flew across the red moon. It then landed, this giant drone, and out came some people. And they were dressed in like astronaut gear. Well, the lead astronaut guy was Barney from How I Met Your Mother, the actor. But then in this dream, he was acting as an explorer, and we would call them astronauts, but it was supposedly that he was an alien, or he was from another planet, and he came to this planet, and he was dressed in the gear, So I'm going to call him an astronaut, but I don't know what you call them from, if they're from other planets and they come here. And he looked like a human being. And he started telling the most fantastic stories, and he was captivating. I mean, you know the character in How I Met Your Mother, right? He's this, captivating. He's puts a little, he's charming. He puts a spell over you and these kinds of things. And he's extravagant with his speech. And he's just telling these fantastic stories of leading other teams of explorers on other planets. And at one point I said, "You're not actually an astronaut, are you? You haven't actually been to these places, have you?" And there was a pause, and he said something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, "No, I'm just an actor, and that was just part of the acting gig." And then he immediately went back into the fantastic story. "This one time I was leading this group of doctors, and we were exploring these other planets. And so yeah, that's a dream that I woke up from, and I was like, oh, we've got to tell Jesus, we got to tell this one." So, yeah, and that was, the end of that one. So those were my dreams over the past year and 3 months since consciously coming to Christ in October 2023. And that was my most recent one. I think it parallels nicely with, what other people have been sharing. And I definitely 100% feel like I'm Christ-led, and that those dreams were inspired by Jesus and are meant to give us a heads up. I think it's especially exciting. I got even more excited when I realized my dream where I didn't have my car and then bears came out of the ground. At this point, I do not have my car, and it doesn't look like I'm going to have my car for possibly weeks or even months. I am driving a rental car, which, yeah, you only get 50 miles a day on it. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that you felt blessed by that, and that it also helps to validate any knowings or dreams or revelations you may have had over the months or years. Yeah, just hang in there. I think we're almost home. I feel closer and closer as things start wrapping up and the world goes even more bonkers. All right. Love you guys. Bye.